Hi everyone, I'm Cassie. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm here to do the wrap-up for Read-o-Rama Round 6. This readathon lasted from March 12th midnight to midnight March 18th last night, and I did not do very well on this wrap-up, as I am about to explain. So first part, the books that I did not finish. First book that I did not finish was all of the above. This was my blind challenge book, and I did not read this mostly because this was literally probably one of the worst books I've ever picked up in my entire life. I read 9 pages and then gave it a 1-star rating on Goodreads. I'm not even want to go into the rant about all the things that was wrong with this book, but just to give you a little warning, it is basically a really bad, non-supernatural version of Twilight. I literally thought that lines I was reading for this book were copied directly from Twilight. Along with that, this author could not describe her own characters. She literally said one character was the exact copy of Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter, which in my mind is plagiarism. If you're gonna write a book and sell it, you need to create your own characters. You cannot just copy a description from another well-known selling series to get readers to buy your book. That is stealing. So that is why I did not read that book. The second book I didn't read is Breakfast Served Anytime. And I didn't really have too many problems with this book other than the fact that it's just not written in the style that I like. The characters seemed well developed. It seemed that it was going to have a good storyline. It just wasn't my type of book. The writing was a little bit more talkative written than how I like. I like my books to be written in a more formal written style, which is something that I learned about speech writing this past year, so that is a big issue for me. But other than that, I thought the book would have been fine if I could stand the style of writing. Part 2, the book that I'm not sure I'm going to finish. So I'm not sure if I'm going to finish Hello, Goodbye, and Everything in Between by Jennifer E. Smith. And while I love Jennifer E. Smith, I think her books are well written, and her characters are developed, and that they have all of the emotions. This book, the characters in it are just not for me. It is set in Chicago. However, the two main characters are rich, right, and super nerdy. The characters are trying to decide if they should break up before moving cross country to the very rich and prestigious colleges. And one of the main characters was really upset that they didn't get into Harvard, even though the legacy. And it's not the kind of story I want to read about Chicago. It's not really what life is like there. So I might read it just because of the adventure that it'll take me on, and have to pretend that the characters are somebody else, or it's a different setting. But I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to finish it. Now on to books I did read. The first one is The Girl from the Well by Rin Shapico. This is one of the few books that I've ever read in one day. I did not read it in one setting because I had to go to dinner, and then I was supposed to go to sleep, but I couldn't sleep, so I just stayed up all night and read this. It says it's like 300 and something pages, but it's actually only 100 and, it's actually only 250. But I like to say the plot is well developed, although I'm not really, it is, but it doesn't flow. It kind of feels like you're reading two separate stories in the same book about the same characters. There's a big distinction between when they're in America and then when they fly over to Japan. It really feels like the author wrote two different short stories and stuck them into one book, but it still is really good. She fully developed and explained the backstory of Okaku, the ghost, or evil spirit in the story, and then also fully developed the story of the other spirit in the book, which is like the evil spirit, even though Okaku is supposed to be the evil spirit, and along with that, and even though the spirit's supposed to be evil, it's not really like a horror novel, it's more of a suspense novel. There are some horror elements to it, but they weren't really horror enough for me, so that was my biggest issue with the book, besides the fact that it's about like 2 different stories in one book. But I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads because I really liked the way it was written and the character development and all of that. The next book I finished is Everything by Nickel Moon. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this book. Some parts of me loves it and wants to give it a 4 out of 5 stars, and some parts of me hate it and want to give it like a 0 out of 5 stars. But I don't know. This book really does take you on an adventure, and it's emotional, and there's family issues in it, but there are just so many overall plot issues with it. I'm not sure how I feel about it. This next minute's going to be a bit squirrely. I don't want to hear that. skip to whatever. I click whatever I put right here. So the main character, Maddie, is 18 years old, and she's allergic to everything, but she's also supposed to be like super crazy smart. And I'm also allergic to everything. And I'm still able to go outside once or twice a month. It's called medication. They have it for people who are allergic to everything. It exists. And you'd think she'd be able to figure this out by going online, or the fact that her mom is a doctor. Except the problem is that Maddie isn't allergic to anything. And her mom got really mentally unstable after a car crash that happened when Maddie was a baby, and wanted to protect Maddie by making her think that she was allergic to everything and keeping her inside her entire life and not letting her have like any contact with the outside world. And my biggest issue isn't that part of it. It's the part that Maddie has a nurse who realizes that this is what's going on and lets it continue for 16 years. And at the end, when Maddie is like, "Oh, I'm not allergic to everything," after literally running away, she ends up having to go to the doctor and he's like, "Well, you actually can no longer go outside because you don't have an immune system. So while you weren't sick as a baby, you are now sick. So, good luck." Yeah. Big issues. But the story was still really good. So I gave it a 4 to 5 stars. Okay, spoilers over. You can watch again. The next book that I finished is Where the Wild Things Are, and I have no idea why I didn't read this when I was little. For some reason, I thought this book was like big. Like, I know it's like 30 pages long, but like the pages are really, really big. And so I just never read it. Turns out there's only like 100 words in the entire story. Which I did not expect at all. It's mostly art. Really, really beautiful art. I'm not sure what to say about this book. It's a good bedtime story for your young kids. Read it to them. If you haven't read it, pick it up. It's not really much I can say. And now, last part 4, the book that I'm still finishing. So I don't know if you can tell by the way like I'm kind of acting, I'm getting over being super sick again. This time it didn't last very long, and I lasted the weekend, but I had a fever of like 100 all weekend. I didn't finish the last book I had. The last book is Nimona, which I got to replace my blind challenge, and this is a graphic novel, but it is a really hefty graphic novel, and there's a lot more to it. Like, the characters are really in-depth, and it goes into a lot of backstory, and you really have to pay attention to the artwork to see everything that's going on, and it is absolutely beautiful, and I cannot wait to sit down and finish this all in one go, which probably won't be till this weekend now because I start school today, and I am super excited to read this book. So that is all I have for you today. I will see you tomorrow. Peace!